Okay, so the wheat farm is complete and it looks gorgeous. But now I actually want to move on to working on a different structure at the bottom of the hill here. And as time goes on through the series, I'm thinking more and more that I want to transform this entire village into a giant farming district. So we're going to have another farm style build this episode, and we're going to be building this in the same style that we have been, but today we're going to be building kind of, I guess, like a slaughterhouse for a meat farm, and we're also going to be building a home for a couple of our farming villagers that are eventually going to live here. But we're going to start this now with a familiar process from last episode, which is clearing out all of these grass and flower blocks using water buckets. We're also going to have to cover a pretty large amount of space with dirt because I want all of the holes in the ground here to pretty much be completely covered. That way we have a flat surface to build and walk on. And unfortunately, we do not have that much dirt, so we're going to honestly just have to dig out like a big hole underneath our starter base. Nobody's gonna know it's there. It'll be fine. Nothing could possibly go wrong. I really can't get over how gorgeous I think this farm looks. We're also going to come over here and cover up this lava pit that we got going on for obvious reasons. And while we do this, I want to do a pretty cliche thing, but I figured it would be fun to do. We have a comment of the day, and I'm going to start doing this every episode. But this comes from Carla Rosas. Take a moment, Dylan, to read the f***ing name. We're going to say Carla Roses. So there you go. They said that they love the build. I've always wanted to make a farm this size, but I absolutely do not have the patience to do so. Great work. So thank you for the compliment, and I too lack patience. But my favorite part of this comment is where they first say, Incy, tractors are too modern, proceeds to make drones, which I thought was really funny. Now, I'd like to sit here and pretend that this is my 200 IQ brain saying, oh, well, I didn't want to make anything too current. You know, drones are still a bit futuristic, and they're especially a prominent feature in like solar punk concept art and whatnot. But what this slip up actually is just my brain not working from years of exposure to high blood sugar. And if you look not very hard through most of my videos, you'll find that I just stop working pretty frequently. But I still think the drones are a cute addition and they make sense. But thank you for the comment again. Moving on. All right, so I've done most of the terraforming that I need, and I have marked out the radius of 2 different circles that we're going to be building because these things are going to be circular builds. I do have a little bit more grass I need to clear out, but that's not really that big of a problem and shouldn't take that long. And I actually am already starting to get the vibe that this is going to be a really cool location in this world. But before we get started, I am going to need quite a bit of cobblestone. So we're going to head down again below our starter base. I'm developing a really bad habit of anytime I need any naturally spawning blocks like dirt or cobblestone, I literally just go below our house and begin digging a bigger and bigger hole, which logically is not very structurally sound, but this is Minecraft, so we don't have to worry about things like physics, gravity, and logic. The devs asked this game if it had ever heard of Isaac Newton's general theory of relativity, and Minecraft said, F you. Alright, so I took some of that cobblestone and I marked out kind of the first 3 layers of both of these structures. And I wanted to do this to kind of just get a good visual as to what these things will look like. I think they may be a little too big. I wanted them to be a little bit smaller than this, but we might still be able to work with what we got here. Also, there's literally no force on heaven or earth that could get me to tear these things down and rebuild them. So we're rocking with what we got. We're just going to mark a basic outline for pathways here to see how that looks too. I want to get a good idea of what this place is going to look like from above. Yeah, okay, that's working for me. I like it. Okay, we're gonna walk out here and turn around. Please don't look like shit. Please. That looks good. Okay. I used a circle chart, obviously, to complete these spheres, but I was still worried about being able to make it look good, and I think a sphere of this size looks decent. I mean, this angle right here is going to look pretty good for the thumbnail. So, you know, I'm already thinking about that and whatnot. But I'm happy with this first one, so I think we're safe to continue with the second one. Although it probably would be a good idea to light up the interior of this thing first so that we don't have to deal with any baddies spawning in here trying to ruin our day. Right, so we're in the middle of building the second structure, but I actually need to do a bit of a 180 here and head up to the mountains. The reason being is because I am running very low on iron, and not only am I going to need iron to create more iron tools so that we can continue to work efficiently. I know I said I'm trying to enjoy the early game and everything, but yeah, I'm not going to be using stone tools as my primary at this point. We're better than that, okay? But not only do we need iron for our iron tools, but we also need it because it's going to be a very essential centerpiece in decorating these next builds. We're going to be using a lot of iron bars and trap doors and a lot of things that just revolve around iron in general, so we need a lot of it. And, oh, what is this down here? Hello. Ouch. This looks like, hold on, this might be promising. This guy's got full chainmail armor. We're gonna keep that. We got it too. Is that a lush cave? In the mountains. Hold on a second. Wait, let me deal with this creeper. Because I feel like this is about to be one of the sickest things I've ever seen in this game. There is a fish in the mountains. A tropical fish. There's more than one tropical fish swimming in this cave in the mountains. What is going on? I didn't know that could happen. Okay, there are a lot of mobs down here. Uh-oh. Dude, I really hate skeletons, man. I hate them so much. We need a bow. Dude, look at how far this cave goes. Oh my god. There's literally... Holy sh**. There's the giant hole. And this lush cave has layers. It's like a... Would onion be the right comparison there? Right? Onions have layers. If you know, you know. This place is too good not to explore, though. I'm gonna have to stay here a minute. My god, Michael Jackson? Dude, I heard you got a few new cases. Let's go. Oh, sorry. Shit. I don't think he can get me in the water. Yoink. Yeah, there you go. Where'd he go? I don't know, but this place is gorgeous. Look at the way did you see the way what are they called? The glow things were reflecting in the water? Oh, he's back. Wait, please. No. Get back in the water. Where is he? Oh, hi. I'm sorry about the allegations I just made against you. Hey. Okay, problem solved. Alright, I think maybe it's time we just head out of here. I can explore this absolutely massive lush cave another time. I don't see this ending well for me. Oh wait, there's a dog. Hi dog. You stay there please. I want the dog. Please, do I have any bones? I have 7 bones. Okay. That'll work, right? I don't know, sometimes these dogs can be assholes. Where did it go? We lost... Oh, no, we didn't. I see him. Hello, friend. Look at the way he walks. I love the fresh animations on the dogs, dude. There we go. Best friends forever. Look at his tail wagging. It's adorable. He's very happy to be my dog. Isn't that right? Dog? Look at his butt. Okay, buddy. Follow me, please. Oh, wait. Look at him run. Oh, shit. Look at him go. Yeah. All right, now we have a pet. That's pretty cool. Sarah has also recommended that we name him Gizmo, so welcome to the family, Gizmo. We're gonna have him guard the storage room just for now so that he's safe and so that we have a bit of a guard animal over our supplies. Pretty cool. But now, all shenanigans aside, it's time to get back to building the second orb circle here. Alright, so with that, I think we're starting to really be able to see what this place is going to look like. And I really like these two just giant circles sitting out in the middle of this open field. It gives a really interesting feel to the area. And I like the vibe of like these are clearly objects that like are not supposed to be here, you know? So we're going to light up the second one here. And I think we're on the right path with this. So we could start detailing them. Yeah, maybe getting the gradients in. However, I need we barely have any of the supplies we need. I need a lot of deep slate and I need a lot of tough. So we're gonna head down into the caves to mine some of that, and I'm actually going to live stream this. I've been live streaming a lot more recently, and if you guys haven't been able to catch the live streams, I highly recommend you turn on your channel notifications so you can watch me play on this world when I do go live, because it's a really great way to get early access to the content that's in these videos and get a behind the scenes look at just how my brain works and how I build. Okay, I actually really like the way that this turned out. We have cobble deep slate, we have tough, we have cobblestone, and we have andesite, and now it's time to start on the other one. And all those blocks, I'm actually still going to add more blocks to the gradient, probably going to add in some more greens later. I would like to have mossy cobblestone and moss with grass on top of it later in the video, but we're not going to worry about that right now. For now, we're just going to get a relatively similar base gradient down on our second sphere here. And I have to say, I've been building in the series entirely without light matica, as I said in the first episode. We're going old school, right, with our style of building here. And I have to say, it's a lot more tedious, and it takes so much more time when you don't have these things already planned out and creative. But again, I feel like this is just how this game was meant to be played. You don't need any presets. You don't need to pre-design everything in creative mode. True survival players don't really need to do that. And I'm just having a lot more fun doing it this way. Alright, the base gradient is looking good. Now we just have to do what we did on the first one, and we're going to throw in a bunch of andesite and cobblestone walls into all of the corners here and just match them up with a corresponding hole block as best as possible. And what this is going to do is help us to kind of smooth out the spherical design of this build and get it looking more circular. The walls create a nice transition block, so that way it's not all sharp and you don't have these really jagged corners. I think it looks a lot better. We're also going to start coming along the bottom of both of these spheres here, and we're going to have a layer of upside down stairs. Now again, of course, I have concept art picked out for this build that I want to try to replicate, and this is the thing that we're going to be going for here. And in the concept art, you can kind of see towards the bottom of these sphere-shaped objects. I guess maybe they look like okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of lore building here. I think maybe what these could be is like the remnants of an old, more advanced civilization that, you know, our medieval kind of villagers have moved into. I think that kind of lore would fit the theme of these builds the best. But anyways, whether these are giant bombs or perhaps maybe the heads of big mechs that used to like roam the land or whatnot or whatever, there seems to be a ring of kind of like support maybe at the bottom of them, like these things have been turned into housing. So that's kind of what I'm trying to emulate here by putting these stairs along the bottom of the build. I think it's looking okay so far. It looks a little jarring, but honestly, once we put the rest of the details in, I think it'll look okay. Okay, so I think the structure is starting to really look like the concept image a bit more. Now, I know it still looks pretty weird to a lot of you guys, and it's not going to make a lot of sense for a while, but I promise you, once we do this next part of the build, you'll really be able to start seeing where we're going. And if you can't see it then I promise that by the end of this build, it'll look good. But we actually need to grab some sand, so I'm going to whip up a shovel and we're going to head out to the coast to try and get some. And then once we're done collecting this sand, we're going to start looking for some daisies and some Azure Bluettes, I think is the name of the flower, because we need some light gray dye, and we need that so we can make, of course, light gray stained glass panes. Now, the reason we're going to make those is because I want to build some of these antenna looking things that, once again, we saw in the concept art. And we're going to achieve this look by building up diagonally with some cobblestone and andesite stairs, and then we're going to be throwing some light gray stained glass panes on top of those to give us a bit of a smoother transition without the glass being too noticeable. What we want is we want for the little edges of like the walls to be sticking out, but we want the glass panes to be as invisible looking as possible. Yeah, something like this should be good. So from far away, we shouldn't really be able to see it. I mean, of course, up close, we're going to be able to see it, but looking at this thing from a distance is where we're primarily going to be viewing the structure, so it shouldn't really matter. Those actually look pretty good. Yeah, so I think, well, maybe I think later they're too flat looking, so I'm actually going to build them out diagonally. But for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the top, and similar to what we did on the farm silo, I want to add a bunch of these like antenna looking things just all over the top of the build to give it some extra detail and to make it look more solar punk-y or something. I don't know. I keep throwing that term around so lightly, but you guys know you'll see what I'm trying to go for. There we go. I think that's looking pretty good. Oh my gosh. This place is looking really good. I really love the way this turned out. I added some copper blocks in here too. I added some spruce trap doors to give it a bit more of a worn down feel. And I added this kind of like broken, I guess, a telephone type of wiring and telephone pole to the side, which looks like it may have one point been connected to the actual build itself. And I also made the little antennas, or I guess trigger mechanisms on the top, diagonal as well. And it's looking really good. I really like the way that this is turning out. It doesn't look exactly like the concept art. I will admit it's not as good as I would like it to be, but to be honest, for the complexity of the shapes that we're working with here, I'm enjoying the way this is turning out a lot. But now we need to create an entrance of some kind. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to the part where the wheat farm meets the field that we're working in here, and we're going to throw down some acacia trapdoors and acacia regular doors, because I kind of want to make it look like the fence is like has a bunch of, I don't know, copper bars on it, to give it a little bit more of that futuristic look. I don't want just like a wooden gated fence, and I think the acacia wood looks the best to get that point across. There we go. I think that looks decent. We honestly we don't need anything more complicated than that, so we're just going to leave it as it is. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the last of our cobbled deep slate, which we're going to need to go get more, which is kind of annoying, but I don't really mind. And what we're going to do is line all of the edges of the dirt that's in this area here with the cobbled deep slate. And basically my plan here is to make it so that we can cover this area, or we can cover this cobbled deep slate with moss. So that way, when we look at it from above, we can't see any of the darker colors of the deep slate. But when we look at it from down low along the sides of the build, when we're walking through it, we're going to have this really neat, pretty contrast of the bright, vibrant green of the moss on top of the darker, almost black looking color of the deep slate on the ground. And again, that's just going to create a kind of dark and more moody environment for these builds. And the feel that I want to go for is I really want to focus on what this place would look like when it's raining, actually. That's how this area is meant to be viewed. So hopefully I'll be able to translate that well. But to take a break from working on the ground a little bit here, I have been slowly over time working on this little enchantment area. Now we don't have access to level 30 enchantments yet, but I have managed to collect a good bit of lapis, and I do have 22 levels, so I want to see what we can get out of this diamond pickaxe here. Let's go I guess efficiency 2 would be the best way to go here. Okay, efficiency 2, fortune 1, that's actually not that bad. I'm gonna go ahead and make up another pickaxe here. We're gonna see, okay, we have fortune 1, but we also have efficiency 2 in the middle as well. Let's just go, oh my god, efficiency 3, unbreaking 3, fortune 1. Dude, for the amount of levels we had, I don't think we could have asked for anything better. Let's head over to this anvil here. We do. Okay, we have enough to combine them for an efficiency 3, unbreaking 3, fortune 2 pickaxe. That's pretty good. We're coming up on a god pickaxe here. We're gonna keep building that up as we go, but for now, that's pretty decent. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the live streaming and we're going to get a bunch of terraforming work done. So again, if you guys want to see more of the cooler parts of these videos too, make sure you come check out the live streams. But this is it, guys. I mean, this area looks absolutely sick, and thank you to all of you who have been watching the live streams. I really appreciate the support. But anyways, this looks exactly how I wanted it to turn out. I think this looks perfect. We have a bunch of mud and cracked deep slate tiled pathways going everywhere, which just looks sick from above. I love the contrast of the dark mud and deep slate on the light colored grass and moss, and this turned out exactly how I wanted. From above, you can't even really tell that there's deep slate. It just looks like the shadow of, you know, there being different layers of blocks from the shaders and whatnot. But when you go down and you get a closer look, you get this really cool, like almost like all this grass has grown over like really dark looking rock, and I love the look of this environment. And we went ahead and we threw a bunch of patches of moss all throughout the grass as well to give us multiple shades of green, and I think it turned out perfect. We also built this wall around the area. The plan was originally to have free range cows here, but upon doing some research, apparently mobs will despawn, or at least I thought bred mobs that you had breeded together wouldn't despawn, but apparently if they have more than a 20 by 20 radius to walk around, they will despawn. So unfortunately, unless we take the time to get a bunch of leads and name tags, we're not going to be able to have free range cows around the area, which kind of sucks, but we still have a pretty cool like foliage wall around the area to kind of separate this build from the rest of the forest and to separate it from the wheat field. And I think it looks good. But speaking of cows, we're going to head out now to see if we can't find, here we go. I see one. Hello, my friend. I'm going to take a nap real quick so that the sun doesn't go down while we're in transit. Let's see if we can't navigate this forest here with our bovine friend. There we go. Success. Cow number 1 and cow number 2 are ready to make more cows. Awesome. Don't worry about where I got the leads. No wandering traders were harmed in the making of this video. Now we have the cows. We just need some wheat to breed them up. And, you know, if only we knew where we could get some wheat. Yeah, I don't know, honestly. That might be a little difficult. But I am actually also going to go around here and patch up these walls a bit more just by adding some more detail and some iron bars and possibly some fences as well. In the off chance that we are somehow able to have like animals wandering around the area here, I don't want them to be able to get out. I also don't want hostile mobs to be able to get in because we are going to be having villagers living in and around this area, so it would be best if we made sure these walls were basically fault proof just in case. You know, can never be too safe. But since we can't have free range cows, we're going to head into our first build here, and we're going to make a 1x1 mob cap cow farm. Now, basically, if you guys don't know what this kind of farm is, you can basically take cows and okay, so these guys unfortunately are going to have a miserable rest of their existence. But basically what we can do is we can put multiple cows in a 1x1 area, and we can just breed them up over and over and over, and eventually they will be capped out at, I think it's like 24 or 28 mobs. So you can't have more than a certain number of mobs in a 1x1 area. And what will happen if mobs exceed that number in a 1x1 area is that Minecraft will just start to remove them and kill them off, because if it doesn't do that, your game will start to lag. So basically all we would have to do is breed up these cows, and we would get an automatic source of cow meat, which I guess is steak. Cow meat was a very weird way to put that. And we also get an infinite source of leather as well, all compacted into one nice 1x1 cubed area. These guys are very clearly less than thrilled to be put in their new homes. There we go, got both of them. And now what I'm going to be doing is just building up kind of like, I guess, a furnace of some kind around them to incorporate this farm into the build without it looking just ugly and weird the way that it does now. And we're also going to be adding a pretty big like chimney looking structure to the furnace here, just to give us another, added layer of detail and to have something else sticking out of the roof of this build. Okay, from the outside, that doesn't look that bad. It actually looks pretty good. Now I went ahead and installed some andesite floors as well, so the interior is coming along nicely. But now what I want to do is add a couple of like drying racks for some harvested cows, some just raw meat hanging about. And we're going to do that by using rooted dirt blocks. I said in the first episode that rooted dirt blocks are one of my favorite blocks in the game, but somebody, I forget who this was, somebody in one of my live streams pointed out to me, or maybe it was in my comments, they pointed out to me that rooted dirt blocks really look like animal guts, and so does the nether wart block. So we're going to be adding some of those in a little bit later to kind of emulate like more fresh meat, but we're going to be hanging those about like they're dead cows. So yeah, it's a little morbid, but this is a slaughterhouse. This is where we get all of our meat, and it works. So we're going to go for it. We're also going to place some shelves in the back of this area for us to store any excess steak that we have. I highly doubt we'll ever actually use that much steak where we'll get to the point where we need to use this storage, but it might be nice to have just in case we want to sit around and just grind out a bunch of meat for a day. That way we never really have to worry about saturated food either. I have a weird obsession with food in this series for some reason. I really don't need any because of the wheat farm, but let's get some more, I guess. And I just want to take a moment to look at this build. Yes, this is exactly the kind of feel that I was going for. This place in the rain just looks gorgeous. But we are going to head inside here, and I'm going to take shaders off because I want to show you what I have made here. I think this place looks pretty good. It's not like there's still some empty spots like over here to the left, but it looks decent. I have a bunch of hay over to the right here. I'm using those nether wart blocks to help make like the meat look a bit more fresh, and we have our cow here who just watched one of his friends get incinerated by this giant arm machine that I made. Again, it's like a futuristic but not really futuristic way of disposing of the animals, but also this guy's name is Muhammad. Chat decided on that last night. But yeah, I think this place turned out pretty good. I like the way that the furnace itself looks. I like our little incinerator machine, and I like the little meat racks that we got going on here. Again, it is a little empty. The ceiling could do with like some more wiring and looking details, but other than that, like, I think this is working out. But now it's time to start building the other structure here, which is going to be the farmer's house. So far what I've done is I have built this kind of little chimney thing made out of what looks like, I wanted to make it look like a tree had grown up through this structure, and then the villagers that moved in cut it down and turned it into a neat looking fireplace. So that's what I've kind of got going on back there. And then the front, I created this really cool balcony, again with the help of all the members from my live streams, and I think this thing is looking pretty good. But now what I need to do is I need to come back to the outside and I need to add some of those finer details again. So I'm going to start here. We're going to put this fence. Does that look weird? No, that looks okay. Fence and a little chain there, and then we're going to throw an iron bar on top, and we're just going to put in details like that all over the place. I think it would also be good if we have like a little window downstairs, something for our villagers to look out of. Maybe have some table and chairs here, and we're gonna add some of this carpet I picked up too over to the right here, because I want to have like a bookshelf kind of hidden in the corner there too. I think that would be pretty cool. Also gonna add some plants in the corner flanking each side of the window. Little reading nook. Then maybe above it we could even have like a little, I guess, hanging plant kind of situation. I don't know how well this is going to look. We're gonna throw some signs around the sides as well. Maybe we should put a trap door on the bottom of that. That looks okay. I think it gets the point across. This place could honestly also do with like an additional chimney and fireplace on the bottom level here. I feel like this is an area where the temperature would get pretty cold. It is an open field, and this area again is supposed to like emulate a very lush and wet environment, so it makes sense that it would get cold here. So having a lot of fireplaces in this building, I think, to me would make sense. So we're gonna throw one in the corner. Gonna make sure we build out a chimney on the outside as well. And there we go. I think that corner is looking pretty good. Now I'm going to continue to detail the interior of this, and I will get back with you guys when I'm finished. Okay, so this is what I have come up with, and I really, really love it. I did most of this while streaming, so I do apologize for that, but I am trying to expand the channel by doing that a little bit more. But I think this place turned out almost perfect. There are some other things that it really could have used that I'm not too happy with, but in general, there's a lot of detail here for a place that we're never really going to see all that much. You know, this is a house for our farming villagers, not for us. So I think this will more than satisfy them. I created a centerpiece to kind of look like maybe the core of the head or the bomb or whatever the structure was. And I added, again, this giant tree that's also kind of a fireplace that kind of grew up through the structure, and the villagers that moved in here have, you know, placed their bookshelves and their carpeting and, you know, their little table and chairs everywhere, kind of surrounding that tree to give them a really cozy feel. There's also a second layer up here which takes you to the upstairs balcony, and this is where all the villagers sleep. There's not really any kind of complex bedroom. Again, their main task is to do their job and work at the farm, so they just have a simple sleeping area and then a good entertainment area. I also went downstairs. I added this spiral stairway, and I added my favorite part of this build probably, which is the steampunk kind of looking kitchen. I'm really happy with how this turned out, actually, with all the chains, you know, connecting from some of the pipes to the ground to add a couple degrees of separation here. And I added some composters to make it look like some kind of, I don't know, grinder machine that's connected to the kitchen. This way, you know, it makes sense that the composters are in the kitchen because the villagers are using maybe compost to fertilize some of their food and the plants that they make. And also the farming villagers will need composters to actually become farmers. So there is some functionality there as well. But just overall, I'm really happy with these two builds. I think both of them turned out great and they look really, really unique. And I hope you guys are happy with them as well. I'm also a big fan of the environment outside, and I created an additional little structure that you guys can see if you're subscribed to my Patreon. So if you're interested in supporting the channel further, I do have a Patreon. There's a $3 tier, a $5 tier, and a $10 tier, and each tier gets you different levels of rewards. I would really appreciate it, and it's a really cool way for you to get exclusive episodes and behind the scenes footage like this. So consider it, and if you do buy it, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. But that's going to do it for today's episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. But with that, I gotta get going because, of course, I have more work to do.